Today I'm setting up my January bullet journal using a stained glass theme. Hi there, I'm Natasha of Natasha Miller Creates, and today I'm super excited to be collaborating with Archer and Olive and the Unbound 12 Days of Creativity project. Unbound by Archer and Olive is a guided creative experience designed to remove barriers and give you everything you need to start benefiting from creativity for your mental wellness. The 12 Days of Creativity is a virtual e-course with 12 creative projects to help incorporate mental wellness through creativity. This course teaches tips and techniques to use throughout the year and not just through the holidays. I was lucky enough to help work on this project behind the scenes and got really inspired throughout the process and decided to incorporate one of the creative projects into my January setup. I initially wanted to do stained glass for December, but I was really struggling with the concept of how I was going to pull it off. And so while watching the video for the stained glass project, which is one of the projects in the 12 Days of Creativity, I got really inspired and excited to do this theme for January. So let's get started. For January, I chose a snowdrop flower because it is fun and easy to draw, and then a simple sans serif handwritten font. My goal was to keep the illustrations as simple as possible so that the stained glass effect didn't overwhelm the fonts of the illustration. If you have too many little details, you're going to lose that using this effect. So that's kind of my thought for using bigger illustrations. For my cover pages, I have my hand-lettered page, which you will see shortly. And the quote I chose is, "It is okay to do what's best for you." And then I decided to have some fun with the illustrations. I sketched a window with some drawings, and then I traced that onto the vellum that I had cut to size of the page that you see here. And then I cut out the inside of the window of my bullet journal page with the cutting blade, and I added the vellum behind that. Now, I meant to leave an extra page so that I could glue the vellum between two pages, but I didn't do that for whatever reason. And so I ended up having to grab a second page, which I just grabbed from an old notebook, and I just cut that in and glued that in, and you're going to see me struggle to size that shortly. Here's where you see me kind of tracing. I'm using paper clips to hold the paper in place so that I can trace, and then cut the extra page that I had to glue into size. Again, I can't emphasize enough, just leave an extra page and you won't have to go through all these extra steps. It was really, it became really, really challenging. So this cover page was very time consuming, and you know what? I feel the effect was worth it. I even broke my cutting knife pen. I was so proud of it and so excited. I think I got it from Stationery Pal, and I pushed too hard and broke a piece of the plastic, so now it doesn't work properly. But it's okay. I'll just get a proper one. And then the other trick for doing this is definitely using paper clips, or like you see me using binder clips to hold things in place so that you can glue it down. The irony here is that I glued it facing the wrong way, so I ended up having to remove it, which is what you see me realize here. And so I just removed it and glued it down the other way. It only tore a little, which I was surprised but also grateful for. And so that's what you see me struggling with. Throughout the layout, I am using Calliograph dual tip brush pens, and those are from Archer and Olive, as well as the black acrylograph and I got to know each other really well throughout this layout. I'm using my mono drawing pens from Pigeon Letters, which I love. And I believe those were my main supplies for a change. Normally I have a lot more supplies, but I kept it pretty simple for this theme. Here you see me just trimming all the pieces so that they don't stick out or get in the way. And I'm just using some glue, some crafter's glue, to glue that middle piece down. If you're using this kind of glue in your notebook, you want to be careful to use as little as possible, because it is a water-based glue and then it's going to warp your page or warp whatever you're working on. So I just used a very small dot with my finger and placed it where I wanted it to be. And then there you saw me just use an extra piece of paper to try and stop from drawing on the vellum. In theory, I should have colored in the frame before I glued the vellum in, but I was not thinking. I was just too excited to get this page done and start coloring on the vellum. So for my window, I have the letter J. I have what's supposed to be snowdrops or snowflakes. I have my snowdrop flower. I drew in some leaves, and then the bottom right hand corner is 24 for 2024. I thought that was a fun way to incorporate everything about January, especially up north. I should say everything about January in the Northern Hemisphere. Instead of putting a tab on the right-hand side of the page, I put it on the top of the page because this tab is only really necessary for this page, and I didn't want it to kind of interfere with the functionality of my other tabs. So here's where you start to see the stained glass effect. Basically, you want to draw curved lines and you want to change up the directions that they're going in. I found this part to be super meditative. It was just relaxing and fun to go in and draw all the lines. And then, of course, even more relaxing and fun to color in all the pieces. I don't know if you did this as a child, but when you just kind of draw figure 8 scribbles all over a page and then go through and color in all the segments a different color, that's almost what this was like, except you're using the same color. And it was actually a lot of fun. So this is my quote page. It's okay to do what's best for you. And I hand-lettered that in Procreate and just printed it out, and using black washi just as an accent, because the black tab on the right-hand side of the page, I thought the black washi balanced that out really nicely. And then, of course, adding in my borders. I will always add in borders. The page just looks so empty without it. I'm probably, 7 or 8 years now using borders, and I can't not use borders. So for my color palette, I went for blues and greens, which is very much the colors you think of when you think of a snowdrop. And if you Google or look up snowdrop on Pinterest, you'll see a lot of the green and the blue. And so I thought that was fun. I love green and blue together. These were actually my wedding colors. The royal blue with the soft green. I kid you not. So using these colors again brought back a lot of fun, warm memories of the invitations I made and all the little crafty things I decided to do for my wedding. So yeah, this was a nice throwback. So I had a lot of fun. These colors are, like I said, some of my favorite. I haven't mentioned yet, but this is a B5 size notebook. It's from the Archer and Olive Nostalgia Collection, the composition theme. And this was probably one of my favorite themes they've ever done for Christmas. For winter, not for Christmas, for winter. I bought two. I bought the Denim and Daisies and the composition. And I think I'm going to be using the Denim and Daisies in June or July when I do my new bullet journal setup. So I'm excited about that. I actually just finished a new bullet journal setup in this bullet journal. I've linked that video up in the cards so you can check that out. And then for my main January page, I'm adding a border. I started lettering January and I started coloring it in. And I thought that the dark was getting lost in the dark blue that I used in the background. So I went back in with a white jelly roll and added lines in between, I added lines on the letters to kind of make it pop more. And I ended up liking that a lot more. But you'll see that shortly. So here again, we are going with the stained glass, or at least making glass pieces. I decided to keep the flowers whole instead of kind of segmenting them like I did the background. I did do some Pinteresting, and a lot of stained windows or stained glass will have the flower pieces kind of intact. So I was happy to do that. Otherwise, I found that the flower just kind of got lost a little bit, especially because this isn't a big piece. And I apologize for the blurriness. What you saw me do there was add a white strip of washi. The way that the white page that I cut out and the vellum, it didn't line up perfectly. And so I just used some white washi tape to kind of make it line up or make it look better at least, and it worked quite well. I also went in later to do a black frame, color the frame black on that page as well, and the acrylograph did really well on the washi. It's like a textured, almost glossy washi, and it held up really well, which I was happy about. So for 2023, I basically stuck to the same layouts or setup for the whole year. And this year for 2024, I kind of changed it up a little bit. So I'm really excited to share that with you today and kind of see how it goes for me throughout the month. This setup for me is a little bit more labor intensive throughout the month, which I'm not really used to, but I do want to rely on my journal more. So I'm excited to get going with this setup. You will see that I incorporated the stained glass theme into all of the layouts throughout the setup. And some places it was more subtle, like you'll see my weeklies, it's a lot more subtle. And otherwise I used the stained glass effect in my headings. And so it was time consuming, but again, it was really fun to just color in and see. And I left my phone in the frame so you can almost see how long this took me to do. But again, I put on a movie and got lost just coloring in. So that was really fun. For 2024, I'm back to using tabs. I really enjoyed using them for 2023. And yeah, now they've become a staple in my mind. Usually I use acrylographs to do my tabs. I like using the acrylographs because it is a thicker medium, so it does kind of add more weight to the tab. But because I was using calligraphs for the setup, I just stuck with that. I didn't want to have to go find and match all the acrylographs, which you can do, but I was just feeling lazy and just, yeah. I ended up getting sick while doing this, and so it was a little bit rough, but it still turned out great, and I'm still happy. So here we have my calendar page set up. This is a little bit different, the way I'm setting it up, than I normally would. And instead of a separate column on the right, I ended up having it joined to the calendar, and we'll be using this to capture to-dos for specific weeks. The inspiration for this layout came from Jess, whose channel is at Jashikorin. If you are familiar with Otter and Olive, you know Jess. And she is one of my favorite humans, and I appreciate her so much. And I'm so excited to give this a try. Basically, what you do is you list your to-dos for that week in that column. And it's kind of nice because I feel like it takes away the overwhelm of the task list and also puts it front and center so that when you're starting your Monday and you're looking at your blank weekly thinking, what do I have to do? It's kind of a nice place to go back and reference what you have to do. Here you see me incorporating my stained glass effect into my heading of my page, and because I had extra space, I added in some of the snowdrops. And my cat is constantly getting in the way. Between her and not feeling well, this was a struggle. I love her to bits, but she would not stay out of the frame, and so I apologize. I decided to complement my sans serif font with just calligraphy. I love doing calligraphy. It's become such a go-to for me. And what was really cool, because I used the other side of the calligraph, which is a smaller brush tip, to do my calligraphy. And I feel like it gave my calligraphy a kind of Gothic effect. And if you consider a lot of Gothic architecture have stained glass windows incorporated into it, it was really cool. And I only realized this while editing the video, so I actually really appreciated that extra layer of accidental meaning to my layout. So that was a lot of fun. This was probably my favorite color combination of the bunch, using the greens with the light blue in the background. I really liked how everything popped on this light blue background, but I also wanted to make sure I was incorporating lots of different colors throughout the layouts to tie them all in together. This is definitely my most ornate heading page, or header, sorry. The other headers are a lot more simpler, as I was trying to get done and not feeling well. So back to the 12 days of creativity. When I saw this project, I got super excited. As I mentioned earlier on in my video, I wanted to do stained glass for my December setup, but I couldn't wrap my head around what I wanted it to look like or how I wanted it to look. And then Laurie George, who runs the Unbound project, did the stained glass project through 12 days of creativity, and it was so great, and it just made it seem so easy, and the creativity just started flowing. So like I said, this is one of 12 projects, so there are 11 other projects within the 12 days of creativity, and they're really fun, and they teach some great tips and techniques. Laurie is a really great teacher, a really great person. I've gotten to know her, and I do really enjoy working with her. So let me know down below if you are enrolled in 12 Days of Creativity, or if you will be joining 12 Days of Creativity. It was launched over Christmas or over the holidays, but it's definitely more than just a holiday project. There's a lot of value in the little tricks that she teaches and the techniques, and helps you learn how to use your products, which I appreciate a lot. So going back in and adding my stained glass effect. This is a new layout for me this month. This is a monthly overview page. Here I am capturing important dates in the month, what needs to be worked on for my art licensing, and then my goals for the month and a place to capture more to-dos. These will be more personal to-dos, so planning birthday parties and stuff like that needs to be done. I'm on the parent council for my kids' school, and I have some planning to do for that now, so just capturing things like that. And then on the right-hand side of the page will be work on my word of the year, just doing exercises and assignments and little projects to kind of keep the word front and center for me. For 2024, I've chosen the word courage. So we will see how it goes. Here I'm using my journaling stencil from Archer and Olive to do my checkboxes. Really, really love this stencil. If it becomes available again, or when it becomes available again, I'm not sure. Make sure to grab them. They're so fantastic. I actually have two, and I use them a lot. And then for labeling my tabs, I'm just using a jelly roll. I couldn't find a white acrylograph. I use them so much that I think I have used up all of them. And then I also did a massive office reorganization, and I can't find my compass anywhere, my pencil compass. But anyways, I digress. I wanted to use it to draw in the arches of my windows, and I couldn't find it, so I had to get creative with how I drew those. So this layout is new to me as well, or at least new to my monthly setups. This is a trigger tracker page. I don't know who the original creator was. The first time I saw a trigger tracker page was back in 2016. I believe I set up a bullet journal with a trigger tracker in it. So I don't know who the original creator was. Otherwise, I would happily give them credit for this because it's such a great idea. Basically, what you do is you have your events that led up to being triggered, and I am capturing the emotions I felt, and then I called it my reactions, but it's probably more my response. So was my response to kind of immediate gratification to buy something, or was it a healthier coping mechanism like working out or something along those lines? I really want to focus on healthier coping mechanisms. I do have anxiety and depression, and I have really been struggling with migraines, which I believe are related to stress. So yeah, it's just kind of taking some time and figuring this out. And then, like I said, taking my negative coping mechanisms, which right now is eating and shopping, and rather building healthier coping mechanisms. So that's my health and wellness focus for 2024 is healthy coping mechanisms. For 2023, it was setting boundaries, which I give myself a B+ for. I did okay. I could do better. Now I just have to maintain those boundaries. But for 2024, I am hoping to set up healthy coping mechanisms. Finishing up the layout with the stained glass header effect and using gray as my background. So now we are moving on to my weeklies. New for my weekly setups is a weekly habit tracker. I have failed horribly with habit trackers in the past, so this is my attempt to make them smaller to hopefully follow them. These are specifically to track my migraines, my water intake, vitamins, and then probably whether or not I took my migraine medication. Where I'm located in Calgary in the winter, the way the sun sets, it feels like you're getting a halo migraine. If you get migraines, you know what I'm talking about, that halo. So for me, it's been really hard to tell what's a pressure migraine and then what is just the sun irritating me or what's an actual halo until it's too late. So that's what I'm hoping to do with my habit tracker. I'm also incorporating my priorities and then just a generic to-do section. I did use the generic to-do section in my December layout, which I've linked up above. And yeah, it's basically just, I used to do the Alistair method for my planning, and I just brought that down to just a generic to-do list. I found that having to assign dates to things, this is going to sound super silly, but sometimes assigning the dates was causing me more anxiety than it needed to. So I'm definitely in the process of finding something that works for me. December, this worked for me, so we'll see how it goes in January when things kind of pick up again in terms of school and work and personal work as well. And here I'm using my stencil again to add in the squares, and there I've added in my little bit of stained glass. I forgot to mention that the stamp in the top right corner is from my shop. I believe I have a couple more sets left of the mini calendar stamp set. Basically, I've been using this for the last 3 years, and you just change out the little calendar that you need for that month, and you can have Monday through Sunday or Sunday through Saturday. So I've been using that a lot. I have a couple left, so I've tagged that down below if you wanted to go check it out. So again, this page is new to my setups. It is a monthly review page. I'm hoping this page will help me keep a better eye on my goals and how I'm progressing. For this page, I'm capturing my biggest accomplishment, other good things that happened, how I feel about my accomplishments, how I'm celebrating them, and then what I need to focus on for the next month. The right-hand side of the page is where I'm hoping to just do some junk journaling, add some elements here and there, and basically just have fun with it. The idea of finishing off the month with a fun, unstructured, creative element. I'm not the best at unstructured artwork, so I should say unstructured in quotation marks. But we will see how it goes. I don't know. I'm excited. This is very different from what I'm used to setting up. And like I said, I don't want to say labor intensive, but I'm going to have a lot more intention toward using my bullet journal, or sorry, using my bullet journal in a more intentional way. So I'm super excited. So again, let me know down below if you are going to be joining the 12 Days of Creativity project. They're super short projects. It's a few minutes a day. You don't even have to do it every day for 12 days. You can just kind of pick it up when you can. And yeah, just kind of do something fun for yourself and creative for yourself. I find it goes a really, really long way. And then, of course, adding in my checkboxes with my Archer and Olive journaling stencil. And then for my final review page, I just went for a neutral gray so that it gave me more options for what I wanted to do on the right-hand side of the page. So we'll see it. That page, looking at it right now, is making me a little bit anxious. But that's part of it. Just, yeah, a space to be creative. So that is my January setup, all ready to be used. I had a blast adding the stained glass elements throughout. It's definitely a trust the process kind of a project, but also very meditative and very relaxing to do. As I mentioned, there are 11 other projects to create and inspire, and I've linked that down below for you to check out. You can use my code NML10 for 10% off, and then yeah, let me know if you'll be signing up, or if you've already started doing it and you already have your favorite project. Thank you so much for your time today. Stick around to the end of the video for more inspiration. If you are setting up a new bullet journal, check out the video on the left. If you would like more January inspiration, you can check out the video on the right. See you in the next one.